There's only one yortzeit that is listed specifically in the Torah. Even though we have different traditions for when somebody passed away, like Moshe passed away on the 7th of Adar, and David HaMelech, King David, passed away on Shavuot. Those are all by tradition that we have that understanding, but one person is listed, and it's going to be in this week's Torah reading of Maseh. It says that Aaron HaKohen passed away on the first day of the 5th month, which is the month of Av. And as it happens, when we're going to be reading about it will be exactly on the first day of the 5th month on Rosh Chodesh Av. So we will be reading about his yortzeit on the actual day of his yortzeit. So what's really interesting about this, even more, is that we found out about Aaron passing away already in Parshat Chukat, which was several parshas away. We've already had Chukat, Balak, Pinchas, and now we're going into Matot Maseh. So it's coming much later after the fact to tell us, by the way, when Aaron passed away was on Rosh Chodesh Av. Why do we need to know that, and how does that help us, especially during the time that we're in now, which are called the 3 weeks between the 17th of Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, where we are in a time of semi-mourning and mourning for the destruction of the temple, which we learn that the destruction of the second temple was for the sin of sinat chinam, baseless hatred. How does it help us to know that Aaron passed away on the first of the month of Av, which is precisely when we're going to start increasing our efforts to make ourselves more sad and confined and constricted as we get ready for Tisha B'Av? It really couldn't be more perfect. I remember learning from my dear friend and colleague Eliza Bulow that when someone passes away, there is a spiritual estate sale, which means that the qualities that the person had who's no longer in the world are up for grabs, because what they did in the world is no longer being done, and the people who come to their levaya, to their funeral, who knew them, friends, or even people who hear about them casually, should make a point to take on one of the qualities that is connected to the person who has passed away. So here we are, all of the Jewish people are being told, Aaron passed away on Rosh Chodesh Av. And what was Aaron known for? He was known as an Ohev Shalom and a Rodev Shalom, a lover of peace and a pursuer of peace. And to pursue something means to really go above and beyond. That he was someone who was always trying to bring people together. The antidote to sinat chinam, of baseless hatred, which causes separation primarily through lashon hara and how we think about other people, that causes people to separate and friendships to fray, families to get into fights and machlokas, all sorts of challenges that come our way for the Jewish people. We are giving the antidote before the disease. We're being given the cure for the problem that has caused the destruction of the second temple and the galus, the exile that we find ourselves in. Aaron was a person who wasn't just do as I say and not as I do. He himself, it wasn't just that he wanted other people to be getting along. He himself was a person who was able to overcome the natural human tendency to want to be the one who's the most important person in the room. That when Moshe was appointed the leader of the Jewish people, Aaron had been the Jewish people's leader in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, for 80 years. And Moshe had been gone for 40 years. And he comes back to Egypt with the word of God saying, now I, Moshe, am going to be the one who's going to take over leadership of the Jewish people. Aaron as the older brother, Aaron as the person who had already been in charge, who had been there while Moshe himself was not there with the people.